Today I've been asked to talk to you about how to correlate language arts and social studies in your classroom together. And for me, one of the easiest ways and most effective ways to correlate these two things is to find a theme. A theme can be anything of your choosing, and you'll need to vary it from time to time. My favorite theme I like, because I just enjoy Civil War history, is a theme on the Civil War. And though you can use fiction or nonfiction books, today I would like to introduce three fiction books that you could use to correlate the Civil War using both language arts and social studies in your classroom. The first book I would recommend, or that I like to use, is called Abe Lincoln's Hat. This is a book about Abe Lincoln and how he used his hat to keep himself organized. And it basically chronicles events in his life before he became president, while he was still just a young lawyer, up-and-coming lawyer in Illinois. And the thing it does for social studies is it introduces the government. He became president during the Civil War, and it introduces Civil War government to your students. And one of the best ways to correlate it with language arts is to have your students write a report. They can research the events in the book. They can research Abe Lincoln himself. They can write the reports individually. They can do group reports. They can do timelines. Any number of things they can do as far as written activities to be able to understand the correlation between government and using a language arts skill to do so. The second book I like to use is a book called My Brother's Keeper, Virginia's Civil War Diary. Now this is a book written by Mary Pope Osborne, who writes the Treehouse series book, which we're all familiar with. It's a very good series. She's a very good writer. And this is a story about Virginia. And Virginia's brother and dad go off to help an uncle during the Civil War, and they leave her there in the town of Gettysburg, where they live, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where the Gettysburg Address was given by Abe Lincoln. And she talks, and she writes about what happens, how it affects her community, how she has to stay with the family, and how she has to help take care of the kids, how she's scared, how she wishes they would come back. It is great for introducing everyday life during the Civil War, but more importantly, it introduces economics, because she talks about baking bread, how people lost their jobs, how people were hungry, how it affected the town economically when the Civil War came to their town. And the best language arts thing, because this is a journal and a diary to use, is teaching your children journaling. Let them journal. Let them pretend that they are a person living in Gettysburg during the Civil War, or any place during the Civil War, and let them be that character and write their journal from their point of view. Excellent project. They can do it over a period of time. They can do just a couple of excerpts, or you can have them keep, for the entire time you're teaching this unit, a journal. Either one would work really, really well. The third book is called Tales from the Underground Railroad. And it is a fiction book, but it is based on true stories of how slaves sought their freedom and fled from their masters. It is a great book, has lots of different little stories in it, and it introduces slavery, first off, but it also introduces geography. Because in geography, in this book, these slaves traveled to various places when they fled. Some of them settled in Philadelphia, some of them settled in New Jersey, some of them even settled as far away as Canada. And it also introduces transportation. Transportation, because some went by railroad, some went by horse and buggy. Many of them traveled on foot. They traveled on foot to flee their masters. So it's an excellent, excellent book. And one of the best ways to tie this into your language arts is through dramatic recreations. Let them act it out. Let them pick one of the little stories and act it out. See how they like it. They can pretend they're those characters and act it out for the class. So you have Abe Lincoln's Hat, which introduces government, and you correlate that and relate that to writing reports, written reports, timelines. You have My Brother's Keeper, which gives you everyday life, but also economics, because it talks about the hardships, and it introduces your students to journaling. And then you have Tales of the Underground Railroad, which introduces slavery, but also introduces geography and transportation to your students. And for that one, you can use dramatic recreations. Now, these are just some ideas of what you can use for language arts. Any of these three would make excellent readers' theater groups. So, I would suggest be creative. But themes will work your best because it's easier to get the students interested and easier for them to see the correlation between the two. So if you have any questions, just give me a call.